Don't carry him like that. Don't carry him.
Can we see?
Phone dead, yeah. Check
The phone don't dey manager.
Better. Let the whole inform first because that's the only way you can get the contract.
You know what? If you're wondering why I love to expose nasty people in my space, please take a look at this video.
I am gonna come over and enter.
What is this now? Hey, show me what you do.
Go carry on now. You know they work here.
You are gonna have to. You should stop making the video and let's move him.
Let's leave video matter.
Somebody is living for taking video. What do you want to do?
Watching this video gave me goosebumps. I'm not even going to lie. For 1 minute, I stared in thin air. Like, seriously, were these medical officers really attending to somebody in critical care? Like, were they really attending to an emergency situation? Because I really don't understand what happened in that video.
You should stop making the video and let's move him.
Let's leave video matter.
Somebody is living for taking video.
The rage I felt watching that video, the temper that got flared when I watched that video, I really, I felt like crying. I felt like saying, you know what? The God factor comes into a lot of things in our lives, but I tell you, the human factor is the number one thing that actually can help us move further. Because the truth is, there is a limit to what God can be blamed that happens to humans. This basically, I'm not saying God is not aware that Rico is dead or is going to die. I'm not saying that it is not it's not God saying, okay, you know what, I approve of this. But I personally feel that it would have been very fair, it would have been easier for us to actually be able to bear the loss of Rico's death if this video had probably not surfaced online, if somebody hadn't really called out these medical professionals for being very unprofessional during an emergency situation. Guys, I don't know how you see this, but I felt touched. I feel like this is one of the reasons why it is very important that we expose nasty people. I feel this is one of the reasons why at this point I think I validate what I do in my channel. At this point, I really feel that if we do not expose people with ill practices, with lack of protocol, with lack of professional etiquette, I feel we're going to endanger more people's lives. Guys, welcome to my space. And in this space, I talk about social issues, trending topics, reality shows, and I am a social critic. I love to constructively criticize situationships, scenarios that I find. As one of the things that I've tried to become in my life, trying to see how people can get better, is becoming a behavioral artist. And in my journey, I can tell you, behind the scene moments like this is the thing that will make you understand that if cameras were placed in certain places, maybe we would have more professionals take up their job more professionally. It was really appalling to watch that video. I felt very terrible. And I can tell you, at this point, maybe the chances of Rico surviving this would have been higher only if this team of people probably had put themselves together and understood that an emergency needed to be treated as an emergency. At this point, I think we're going to blame a lot of things, but let's just analyze the situation around Rico's death. Let's talk about maybe his chances of survival. I know the God factor always comes in, but for a moment, can we just excuse that and talk about the human factor? So guys, I don't know, but a lot of people have been blaming, a lot of people have been writing tribute and saying, you know what, God, why did you allow this to happen? But I'm like, these healthcare professionals, why do you guys have to be so unprofessional? I love behind the scene moments. I believe that behind the scene moments is what really tells us the story of how people take or act or behave, do the things that they do when nobody is watching. And I don't know who made that video. I don't know what that person was thinking about when he exposed that video, but I can tell you, if it was one of the healthcare professionals that shared that video online, I would tell you that person is probably the most stupid person on earth. I am saying that. And when I watched this video, I literally was thinking in my head, maybe this person who shot this was probably one of the, you know, good Samaritans that had helped people get to the hospital. But looking at how the nurse insisted that these guys were supposed to be focusing on their job, I mean, I was like, yes, these guys were a bunch of medical healthcare officers, and it's really, really appalling. You know what, Rico? We're sorry for our healthcare services, epileptic healthcare services. We're sorry, Rico, that our government is yet to put in healthcare structure. We're sorry, Rico, that we do not have enough emergency units, outlets, systems that can actually attend to life on an emergency level. We're sorry, Rico, that you're 29 years on earth didn't move further. We're sorry that this happened to you. We know that this has been happening behind the scenes. We know that more people might be prone to going through this kind of situation, and that is why I'm sharing what I want to share in this video. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jodie. Welcome to Personality Highlights. In here, I talk about reality shows, social issues, trending topics, and if these are the things that you'd like to have conversations around, please stick around as I take you through the journey of what really happened behind the scenes during the last moments in Rico Swavey'S life. Also, Patrick Fakoya is actually his name, but we all know him as Rico. Rico was 29 years old and he was driving. And I feel like neglect is one of the things that people like Rico has struggled for the best part of his life. I look at the tribute Alex paid to him. If you want to know about that tribute, I have a video sharing that. But one of the things that really, really touched me, even the girlfriend said something, I'm sorry I didn't pick your call. And I'm like, can we learn to pick calls? Can we learn to serve right? Can we learn to do what we need to do at the right time? Can we learn to return calls? Can we learn to stop taking things for granted? Just maybe if we can learn to handle things the way they should be handled, maybe we would give a life an opportunity to also see another day. The story of Rico is really, really, it's a very pathetic situation. I've cried my eyes out. I literally went off social media for a whole 24 hours because I felt terrible. But here, this is just me talking about the chances of survival of Rico. If we probably had better healthcare services, if we had better emergency outlets, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Now, guys, let's take a look at the car, at his car. Looking at his car, guys, I'm going to tell you this car was badly hit headwise. And I feel like maybe the chance of survival for Rico, because when we look at Rico's last moment, we could tell that he didn't really have physical injuries inflicted in his body. Yes, he bled, but wasn't very profusely. So I could tell that the trauma was more internally than externally. And I personally feel that maybe the airbag didn't come off. Maybe the airbag didn't come off, and maybe that was why there was a lot of inner trauma. Like, maybe he had to hit his head or body or somewhere in somewhere that was not very safe for the body to be hit at. And I feel like this was one of the things that slimed his chances of survival. I feel like lack of emergency services. Of course, we saw clips of when the accident happened. Somebody actually videoed. We saw this clip where he was being carried. Thankfully, he was saved. Sometimes you see scenarios like this, people just go their busy ways. They don't even understand that they need to help. But thankfully, he was helped. And when he got to the hospital, guys, I don't know what this video that surfaced on the internet has really gotten a lot of backlash. So the nurses in question, the healthcare team in question that were in charge of Rico's situation last moment have been called, and they are going to be facing a panel. They're going to be facing the law, I guess, on their medical or healthcare practices. And I can tell you, one of the things that I love to do in this channel is to expose nasty people, because I can tell you that if we do not understand the concept of etiquette, if we do not understand the concept of accountability, more people would miss out, more people would be left at risk of things like this happening. And I hope things like this don't happen in future. I hope we get better medical services, better medical experts, better empathetic people in healthcare services that can actually leave their ego, like leave everything and serve. I mean, guys, listening to that video, watching that video, I literally heard a chuckle in the background. I literally heard it like somebody was smiling or laughing, that somebody was lying in like in a critical condition like that. It was really gory for me. I felt so terrible. It would have been easier for us to probably, mourn Rico without knowing this. But for the fact that this video got out, I mean, guys, literally, I had to give an excuse in my head. I was like, maybe one of the good Samaritans were the ones that videoed. But looking at the way the nurse was beckoning on these people to come and help, I can tell you it's very, very certain that this person was also part of the medical team or the health team. I don't know, but I really, really wish that it wasn't the healthcare officers that actually did that video and posted it, because if they were actually the ones that did that, I don't know, but I'm going to call them the most stupid person, or whoever did that was definitely not reasoning at all, because how can you even do that to yourself? But I'm so thankful that this video is out. And this is really why in my channel, I also love to share behind the scene moments. I feel like we get to see the things that would never have the privilege of seeing or knowing if behind the scene moments like this are not captured. Guys, I'm super happy. Thank you for stopping by. Personality highlight to Julie. Here we're going to be talking about the chances of Rico surviving. Maybe if some people were taking care or paying attention to their job. So guys, looking at this video again, we're going to see that it wasn't like there was no rush. We're not seeing people running around. We're not seeing them taking into emergency. We're not seeing it like there was just this lackadaisical attitude around how this young man was being treated. And at this point, I'm like, why is this always happening in Nigeria? Why is it that everybody is blaming the government, but people in their own respective jobs, fields of expertise are also very lackadaisical? And at this point, it's it's a sorry situation. It's a sorry mess. I feel like if probably something had been done faster, earlier, with more rapt attention, because every single nickel of the second counts in human life. And I don't know. I know God knows best. I know God knows why it happened. But maybe at the same time, maybe it's just God giving us another hint, another warning that, you know what, you guys need to wake up. And I think at this point, we need to understand the concept of accountability. We need to understand that even when people are not watching, we need to be empathetic. We need to put on our armors. We need to serve when we are in situations like this. I don't know, but what do you guys seriously think? Do you guys think that it would have been better? Do you think that Rico would have survived if we had better healthcare services? I personally feel like maybe he would have had a chance to live longer than he did. Maybe our healthcare services, epileptic healthcare services, professionals were the ones that made him leave us on time. I don't know, but I've been feeling very bad about this. I felt like I just really needed to share it. Unfortunately, for some reason, some of my earlier videos had been deleted. I don't know why it has been deleted. I think because of the personal information. I mean, guys, Toby and Alex were one of the people that were sharing more about Rico. They shared account numbers where people could financially support. I think because I shared that, my video was taken down, and basically this is why I decided to do a fresh one. Let me really know your thoughts. Do you think that the action of these nurses were what led to Rico not making it out alive? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Do you guys really think these guys will really be sanctioned? Do you think that this is one of those accountability stories we're going to hear, and at the end of this, somebody is actually penalized for not doing their job? Do you think there is a chance that things like this might be eradicated from healthcare sectors and maybe other sectors in Nigeria? Please let me know your thoughts. And of course, if you're watching or listening from any other country around the world, what is the healthcare service in your country like? Do they really respond to emergency like emergency situations should be handled? What do they act like a testicle towards it? I don't know, but we need systems in place. We need people with empathy to take up responsible positions. Personally, I have a problem with unprofessional professionals, because I feel like one of the reasons why people struggle the most in life is because of people like this who do not understand that there is a boundary to how things should be done. And I can tell you that 1 minute of video, that 1 minute of idleness, that 1 minute of lackadaisical attitude was probably one of the things that cost the very last breath of Rico Suave. Rest in peace, Rico. We're going to miss you, and we hope to see you soon. Rest in power, rest in love, rest in peace. This is just me. I've just had a very heavy heart, and I've literally been out of social media for 24 hours just because of Rico's death. I didn't know it was going to touch me this badly, but yes, it did. I mean, Rico was one of the best happy humans I've ever seen in the Big Brother show. The only time we ever heard Rico scream, shout, do anything in the double hala season was when he was really talking about food because he understood what it meant to not have.
I've seen beggars out there. They are dying on the streets. They are looking for what to eat. And we're wasting food here. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't.
He understood what it meant that people were struggling, people were trying to survive. And I feel like for somebody who understands it, it's just going to be unfair for us not to talk about things like this because everybody's talking about Rico, but at the end of the day, is anything going to be done to correct things like this so that in future we don't see a repeat of this kind of situation? So Dorian Hospital finally gives a press release and he stated that the incident and the reports about being documented by one of their staffs was a lie and that the documentation, the video that was done by probably a friend or a good Samaritan that had accompanied them to the hospital. So this is just the Dorian Hospital clearing the air. So the public has actually been also saying that the hospital is used to having bad healthcare etiquettes. But anyways, this is just probably maybe a warning or a wake up call to other healthcare practitioners to actually game up when it comes to trying to save a life. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I just felt like I needed to give you guys an update on Rico Swavey'S case. May his soul rest in peace. So I see you next time. It's still Julie keeping it real. Bye bye.